Welcome to the Deadly Addictions channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Paranormal Activity movies franchise. There's a special place for these movies that I usually reserve for around October, but I get so many ideas and so many things I want to do. If you can see, my last couple of uploads have been horror in general, but I want to touch on these movies because I don't think there's anything like it in the last, 20 years or so. Going back to, my childhood, there's the Halloween movies, there's Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason, Friday the 13th, and they had their special moments, or they hold a special place for me, and I watch them all the time in general times or moods that I'm in. But when you get to the, 90s and the 2000s, like nothing really captivates me. And although I give credit to some movies like The Conjuring, and although I think the scamsters that are the real Ed and Lorraine stop me from even appreciating those movies, but they spawn different movies, and they got the doll, Annabelle, the Nun, so I can appreciate that. And I think that's like the newest type of, franchise that you can get involved in an overall story and plot connect. But getting back to Paranormal Activity, when it first came out, gotta remember the first movie, it cost like $15,000 to make. Although it did get picked up by Paramount, because I believe it's actually was a Blumhouse fucking movie, which is, they make some gems now and then. There's a special place for the first one. It's made cheap, great idea, picking up on the found footage. We got to give Blair Witch credit, but I don't think Blair Witch ever, no matter how popular that first movie is, even on rewatches, the second movie that was more of a traditional movie, and then the third one, which is not too long ago in a general sense, which I kind of liked, which goes back to a more found footage and ties the story in with a brother, blah, blah, blah. But it never spawned such a interest for me. And not a lot of movies do, or franchises in that sense. Again, I'll give credit to like maybe The Conjuring or Insidious. But you can go on YouTube, you could find deep dives into so much lore and people's ideas and their own headcanon, if you want to call it. But I'll talk about the movies in general. Now, I consider the first 6 movies part of one solid core that I generally appreciate a lot. I'll touch on the 7th one, I guess, Next of Kin. And then there's Tokyo Nights. There's a video game. There's like a web thing they did to kind of promote in between movies. But in general, Paranormal Activity, it just has a almost unique quality to it in its basics, and eventually become cheap tricks. There's the common bang noise jump scare, but there's general eerie moments in it. And it follows Katie and her boyfriend, and they move into an apartment or a house. You find out that she's been haunted, let's say, since she was a child, but that's a revelation to the boyfriend. And I think he makes a good point. She's like, oh, how am I going to tell you? And he's like, well, you could have told me at a 15th date, or, we're moving in together. But I get it. First off, I should make a disclaimer. I don't believe in any of this shit. I don't believe in ghosts and demons and hauntings. And that's why I think the Conjuring movies, they can go fuck themselves in a way if they're making Ed and Lorraine any fucking money. But kudos to the actors and the actresses and, people making movies. So good for them. There's a bit of lore that you can almost start to get into, and I understand the overall arcing thing that people put together with Toby and Asmodeus or Asmodeus, whatever the fuck his name is, and that demon, and that comes in more at the last one or Next of Kin. But when you got the first movie and you got this small, very small cast, just a Katie and a boyfriend, and there's, creepy stuff going on. The $15,000 is kind of, a great, you know, stamp you want to put on the movie. But when it was picked up by Paramount, they put more money in and rechanged the ending, which I love, by the way, when she throws the body and you see the demon face on her. But there is like, I think 2 other versions, an original one that they, I guess, shopped around and it was only seen once, and then a other ending where she's got a knife and the cops come. Now, I'm not even going to give them credit for having a genius, overarching storyline. Like, they had 6 movies planned. But the way they kept up, just making it fun and interesting and a little creepy and scary. Again, I don't believe in all this stuff. So for me, movies got to have more than just, oh, can they be real? Or could this have really happened? Now going out in the woods and having some freaks fuck with you, I totally can get, so there are some differences between like what the Blair Witch might try to do and what it obviously does with the supernatural, but you don't have to get into that right away. And this movie, the first one, just has a captivating idea for me. I'd love to see where it was going. At the end, Katie's whereabouts are missing. Micah. I think she calls him Mika. So Mika is found dead. Katie's whereabouts are missing. You can get to the second one, and it's sort of a prequel, and it has a little, puts a little top hat on at the end as it comes back around. But basically, you got Katie's sister Christy, her husband, the new baby, Hunter, and the daughter Allie. They're going in, and you see them with the apartment or the house, because everything's got to be a fucking house, and people got money, I guess. And there's a connection, obviously, when you're surprised. Oh, Katie shows up, and it's blah blah blah. And I think they have a thing comes on the screen because Mika shows up, and it says like 60 days before the death of Micah Sloat or whatever. So you're already connecting the 2 movies. She's got a sister, new baby. She's married to a guy who has his own daughter. I think her name is Allie. And they got the fucking housekeeper chick lady, all kind of knows shit. It just starts a tropey trend thing that I really love and appreciate. But shit starts to happen. Shit's going down. Again, they're making that connection to Katie, but it's a prequel, so this is all going on before the movie. Now, obviously, this is going to be spoilers. I'm really talking about the whole franchise as a whole, so if you want to hear my thoughts on it, fine, but there's going to be spoilers sprinkled out, as I've obviously fucking done already, I guess. There's a major incident, and the sister is, dragged into the fucking basement in a fucking crazy scene. There's a revelation of, because there's got to be a moment where no one fucking really believes. But like in the first movie with Mika, he starts taunting the fucking demon at one point. And you're like, buddy, you asked for this shit. But, they call a supernatural guy over. And he's like, oh, I deal with ghosts. This one didn't go that way because that guy comes back in the first one. He's like, oh, it's too dangerous in here. It doesn't want me here. You're dealing with demons. And the demon guy never gets to show up, I guess. He's away on vacation. But that's the first movie. So the second movie, you're dealing with the maid or the housekeeper, and she starts saging the house, burning the sage. Now, the one thing I can understand in this scene is when the parents come home, she's holding the baby. Now, granted, we know she's protecting the baby. She's driving demons out with her fucking sage. In the beginning, is a hint towards that. And the daughter's like, what were you doing? And she explains, bad spirits, whatever. So the husband fires her. And you feel bad. You're like, okay, but I get it. I walk in the house with my wife. We went out to dinner. And the babysitter, housekeeper's got the fucking kid in her arm, and she's got this torch. It's not burning like a fire torch, but it's fucking big, and the smoke shit's coming out of it. It's sage. Fine. Then more shit goes down. The kid gets Allie finds the video. Her mother got a fucking bite mark on her leg and she's being possessed. She's acting strange. The father comes home. He has to watch the tape. Shit hits the fan. And in a major spoiler, yes, major spoiler here, when he calls the maid housekeeper back up, the husband, to help out because she knew something. She gives him a cross and she's getting ready to do her shit, to help drive the spirit out. And then you find out, because the daughter, Allie, who's a great, there's a lot of good actresses and good performances in these movies, although there's a couple here and there. Don't ruin it for me. But you find out that, I think her name is Martine, or the housekeeper, that the husband has to transfer the attached demon to a fucking family member. And yes, you fucking transferred it to Katie. So that's how the first movie starts. Now, by the way, this gets way more convoluted and fucking crazy. This is the simple shit, which is fucking, these movies get batshit crazy. And I think that's why I kind of like them, because my favorite one is the least rated one. Like, no one likes it that much. I love it. Anyway, I'll get to that. So you got the bookend now of the demon gets transferred to Katie. You find that that's the picture they use to transfer the ritual, is the picture Katie finds in the attic in the first movie, or Mika. So you find out the two movies bookend, boom. You find out that although they had problems when they were kids, they don't remember much. But in the first movie, the husband or the boyfriend has the camera. You find out he got the camera idea from the second movie, husband. Anyway, so they transfer the demon. They do a little cutscene showing part of the first movie, or scenes from it, in a sense. And then it puts on the thing, Micah was killed, and blah, 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 some date. And then they show the next day, and they're back to the house. The Sister Christie's house with the husband and Allie. And it's just great way to bookend these first two movies, which is why I think they're such a great 1-2 punch. Katie shows up at the house, kills the husband, I guess kills the sister, but you don't see anything. She just throws her into the wall, grabs the baby Hunter, and then she leaves. And it's some great scenes, some spooky stuff. Again, you're going to get retried, reused things, whether it's lights on and off, doors opening, closing, and shit that is really stupid, especially for someone like me who doesn't believe in the bullshit. But certain sounds, but they start associating it with this entity, and I think they do it at least an entertaining level, if not a critically acclaimed masterpiece level. Katie's disappears. That's the end of the movie. So now Katie has killed her boyfriend, Mika, her sister, the sister's husband, and taking the baby. Now, Allie, the young daughter, was on a field trip, a trip with her school. She came back a certain amount of days later, found the bodies. That's it. Paranormal Activity 2. Done. Now, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? All right, so let's go back again and look at young children, Katie and Christy. And how'd that happen? And they tie it in with the other movies. So there's this thing about videotapes, and she wants to bring the videotapes into Sister Christie's new home. Prequel stuff. They put the year on, so it's like a year before. You see there are things they do throughout the first three movies. Well, I guess the second and third one more, that they kind of are telling you where it is in the storyline. Katie and Christy, blah, 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 blah. Videotapes in the basement. In the second movie, the house was robbed. Nothing was taken but the videotapes. Everything comes back in a fucking crazy way. But here, we're just talking about prequel. So you got the first movie, Katie and her boyfriend. The second movie, Christy, her husband. The involvement with Katie. She comes at the end. This one shows their childhood as they're watching a movie. It comes on the screen. And I thought it was done well. This movie, one of the things you don't like to fucking criticize, but sometimes you can't help it, is child actors. Now, it's you don't even want to say it. They sucked, whatever. But in all these movies, they did well, extremely well, borderline great for whoever's corralling children or working with them. Kudos, because it really could fuck up a movie, and Blumhouse is fucking famous for that. But you're watching the children, Katie and Christy, what they go into, and the demon Toby, which I think he's named in this one the first time. The husband's name is Dennis, and in these movies like this, it's not the real father type thing. Like I think he's not the father of Katie and Christy, but you got all this shit going on. It's attached to who? Christie's at Katie, Eventually you find out some wacky shit, but right now you're just watching a prequel of them as children, what was going on. And there's some great setup payoffs here. When you want to do a jump scare with loud noises, do it right. Don't overuse it. There's some great, and they did this in the second one pretty cool. Like Christy's at the table in the kitchen, and you see the camera angle, and it gets real quiet. And then she kind of turns around, and all the cabinets blow open and things fall. Granted, yes, I'm totally aware that a lot of things are done over and over in a certain way. And, people like me, especially, are going, stop. It's all bullshit. It's all nonsense. Why is the demon just moving a door? Now, I have my own little brain thing. Like I write a script. So I would come up with answers for that, even though I don't believe in it and stuff. I would connect those dots. And granted, they fucking do some crazy shit here. But, okay, you get to this fucking end of this movie. Now they have a friend, Randy, and the Bloody Mary element. It's got a lot of things that I start to like when you have to elevate a movie, but I don't mind it getting back to certain basics because, I don't know. I don't believe in this shit anyway. So seeing doors and the chandelier move, and things break, things drop, it's in all of them in general. But I think each one lends enough and gives a little bit more of the spooky and the jump scare, the loud noise, the creepy darkness. Like, for instance, why the fuck is everybody asleep with their door open in their bedroom? Now, I get kids thing, you want to keep your door open, you want to hear the kids. So that's like not my thing. But this is crazy. You got I think the husband is actually a film guy. Like he does film weddings and stuff. So he's got the camera, the setup. And this movie goes through the whole thing. He actually puts it on a fan, a broken fan, which I thought was cool. So the fan can oscillate, go left to right. And they do a great setup here with the fucking ghost, the little, it looks like a little kid with a sheet over them. And as the camera pans, it comes back, it's there out of nowhere. And then when the babysitter goes to look behind her, it just drops and you realize no one's there. But your brain's telling you, okay, it's one of the kids playing a joke. And you never know at any point who is being fucking slightly possessed. And although you do get some fucking answers, like I think of the next one. No. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, Paranormal Activity 3. Katie and Christy as children, how it starts to affect them, what goes on with the parents, blah, 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 blah. Well, the fucking mother and you get introduced to the grandma, and the fucking grandma, creepy as fuck, but I guess for good reason. The shit's getting too bad, let's go to grandma's house. Well, grandma's house, who knows what the fuck's going on there? Doesn't seem really much. I mean, if you're just going from one place to another, it's not like they show like a demon following them with any spooky vision. No. Again, more spoilers. You just find out that it's the mother's like part of a cult. And they're fucking everybody up in a sense. He's trying to grab the children. The wife leaves the bed. She's missing. He finds her floating above the steps. She gets thrown down. She's dead. And then he goes to get Christy. He's trying to protect the fucking other kid, Katie, and she blasts him with demon power. He gets blasted. He's like really hurt. He's fucking crawling. And then the grandmother just like looks at him and he bends backwards you know, like a pancake, whatever, taco, I guess, Dennis taco. And then she takes the two kids and goes upstairs. So now you got the trilogy. You got the first two movies are great bookends, and then you find out some, not all, because God knows they're not fucking gonna tell you everything. And if they're doing it flying by the seat of their pants, that they did a pretty good job of having just throwing shit together and just going, let's add this, let's add that, blah 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 blah. All right. Now we get to my favorite movie, which is Paranormal Activity 4. Again, it's going to be the worst critically acclaimed one, which I have no fucking idea. I love this movie. It's like my favorite. I usually hold in reverence, like, the first movie, the first two, the way they connect. But when you're going through all the movies and I'm going to have to pick one, I'm going to watch and just gush over the fourth one. Okay, so, oh boy. Takes place years later after the first two movies, right? So is it 5 years or so? Young girl Alex and her family, they go into this new this neighborhood, or they call attention to someone, a new neighbor. I'm not sure if it's them getting a new house, but they live there. They've got a fucking house, of course. It's a huge house, perfect for cameras and stuff. There's what is it? Yeah, I think you see, you don't see exactly who owns the other apartment, but there is a kid who is just walking around and starting to show up in places. They don't give too much away. But they adopted brother Wyatt with Alex, again, mother, father, pretty solid actors all around. Alex has a boyfriend, Ben, who I think is great in this fucking movie. And this movie has, for me, the best scenes in all of the whole. It just, for me, it eclipses everything they've done in all the other movies, even the ones after, in a sense. But crazy shit starts happening. The boy, Robbie, from next door, just shows up in the fucking treehouse at night. The mother's single, works. He has no friends, blah, blah, blah. You find out she has to get rushed to the hospital, so Robbie's staying with them. So during this, it's the first one, I think they start bringing more technology into it. So there's a lot of camera, or laptop, Skype type things, which I thought was smart because, you know, as much as you do prequels, and even the first one, it's set in 2007, I think, and 2005 and 6, you know, they do the cutbacks in the first and second one. You know, you got a certain amount of years later, you got the adopted kid Wyatt, the kid from next door Robbie, you got crazy shit going on, and genius fucking kid friend Ben, I think his name is, shows them that you can use the Xbox Kinect when you shut off the lights to spray the room with connecting dots, and they're dots that track your movement and stuff. Brilliant, fucking brilliant. That they do with dancing, the kids think it's cute and stuff. All right, I'm gonna get through this. I don't want this podcast to be 5 hours long, but in this fucking movie, with all the hauntings and all the scary, spooky stuff, the bangs and the loud noises, the confusion of who's who, and I'll get to that in a second, they show a shot where Wyatt comes down and they're kind of looking at the Xbox Kinect, because that's where the camera is, and you see this little ghost figure following the kid. Fucking awesome. But they top that later because you find out that Robbie's mom is Katie. Yes, Katie lives next door with Robbie. He's been coming over. Alex and them are getting a little, you know, worried because Robbie's drawing on painting on the kid, and they're connecting that to certain elements of ritual and supernatural. What they do later is one of the best scenes in any of the Paranormal Activity movies, in my opinion. Now, remember, part of the staple of these movies are panning or set camera shots that kind of go from one shot to the other. So you'll see the pool, the outside door, the hallway, the staircase. I'm making that stuff up, but for the most part, that's what you see. But it'll go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, and that cycles through like night one, and it's a pretty cool theme. Maybe for some people can get tried and old. So they've got a shot of the living room with the connect dots sprayed all over everywhere. And as you're looking, because these movies start to, I don't know, either they brainwash you or teach you or train you to keep your eye is like looking everywhere. And that could be a staple of found footage, but you're seeing the fucking couch, the table, maybe in the distance or the kitchen or another area. And then this fucking image lifts off the couch and it's Katie. You didn't even know she was sitting on the couch because remember the connector's on. It's a green lit with dots sprayed everywhere in the dark. And it is just that light, giving that you're tracking the things. It's a great fucking scene. One of the best shots in all of Paranormal Activity. Seeing her stand up from the couch and start walking was superb. Now, granted, in the movie scheme of things, you're finding out that Wyatt, the adopted brother, is actually Hunter, not Robbie, who you think should be Hunter. So you don't know what, this could be another 6 movies on Katie getting arrested and then taking the kid away from her. Like, I don't fucking know. But Hunter was given up for adoption somehow, adopted by the Rays, Alex, her mother and father, and the demons telling him in the Connect, your name is Hunter. He's like, no. And then the father comes down. There's a great scene with a knife. The mom's, because the Ben connected all the laptops together and they're filming all the time. So it's that type of found footage stuff. And the mom is looking at the camera, the laptop, doing a food cooking thing. And she's got the knife. And then when she turns around, because Wyatt's asking for something and screaming in the house, the knife just shoots up in the air. And you think, oh, it's going to come down, it's going to cut it. No, this movie doesn't do like that. Like, you're not going to see the knife come down and split her head open and shit like that. Sorry, spoilers. But later on in the movie, when the husband comes down, because the laptop's making noise, he's looking at the laptop. He kind of puts his ear to it, and you see the shadow with the noise. Again, if you're going to do jump scares with sound, bangs, and clangs, do it right. For the most part, this movie does it right with a whooshing, boop, really quick sound with a shadow. He goes, he looks, he turns around because the wife's calling him. As he takes like 5 steps back, the knife comes down and sticks into the counter. Simple things. You didn't have to stab into his hand to cut his arteries open. These movies aren't really like that, and I kind of appreciate that. Okay, so Wyatt is fucking Hunter from the second movie, Christie's kid, and Katie took him somehow up for adoption. This movie goes bonkers. They have another great scene, which is why I said this movie has some of the best scenes. So Ben comes home. No, he doesn't come home. It's his girlfriend's house. And he's like, hey, is anyone here? So he goes up to the room. Oh, there is another cool scene before. I think it might have even been the trailers, but it's a great shot. Alex is like right up in front of the laptop. And she's like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And as she's looking, she's like kind of nodding her head. It's a great fucking scene. Kudos to the actors and actresses. But she's blocking everything else out because her head is taking up the whole camera. Ben sneaks into the house and he pulls her legs. And it's a stupid gag scene from a friend type thing. She's like, oh, my parents are... It feels so real and feels so made up on the spot type thing. Like you would do that to your friend. although having a guy come in the house. Although there is a scene where the mom, I think, says, you know, whenever he's in the house, door stays open. The little touches that make you appreciate them trying to keep things sort of real, and it's not movie, you know, fucking actors and, you know, trying to fucking win Oscars. It feels like real people through all the movies in general. So, shit is the fan is Katie's now coming in the house. She's calling to Wyatt, Hunter. It's, you know, it's almost time. He's telling them that my whole family wants me back, and he's telling Alex, oh, you know, my real name is Hunter. It used to be. So the revelations are coming. They're trying to figure out stuff, and one of the only moments, again, it's the fourth fucking movie, the worst critically acclaimed one. One of the only fucking times in the general 6 movies that one of the characters has a badass scene. So Alex, the young daughter, you know, teenager type thing, she's looking around the house, talking to Ben on the laptop, and she hears the garage door open, and he's like, oh, your parents home? She's like, oh, I'm not sure. She goes to check the garage and looks around like no one's there, and then the garage door closes and locks her in. Then the car starts, and mind you, there's the camera. Remember, she's holding a laptop. Smart use of stuff. Camera, cheap, well done in a sense of what you're working with and doing it on purpose now, because you got some money, right? But that's the theme of this movie, you know, the laptops. The car starts revving, and the garage is filling with smoke. So fucking Alex busts the fucking window open of the car, puts it in reverse, and breaks right through the garage door. Fucking awesome, because you don't see that in none of these movies. All right, I'm going to take control of this moment. It just seems to be like things happening, which is a realistic way in the sense of people, you know, you got such a small cast in these movies, you know, Mika in the first one's taunting and the fucking demon. Then he's like, whoa, whoa, doing the powder on the floor with the fucking chicken feet, legs, and, you know, what is real? When do you believe it? And how adamant are you? Let's leave. Let's get out of here. Let's move. Or someone tells you, oh, it's going to follow you. Whatever the bullshit is. You get these real moments, but they seem more like terror, or you didn't know it was coming, which is kind of bullshit. But in this one, finally, this fucking girl shatters the car window, gets in the car, and reverses through the garage door. Now, she gets a little bit of reprimand from the father, but you can hear her saying, I didn't even have the keys. It's impossible. It's a weird situation to get into that you're going to have to get out of with your parents. Now, the second movie, Allie opened the door because someone knocked and called her name. She goes outside and she gets locked out. And the fucking demon's dragging the fucking baby, the toddler, out of the fucking thing. The kid's walking around the house. And then when the parents come home, they can't find anybody. Why? It's Hunter at the time. The baby's crying in his crib. He went on this whole fucking adventure, and she's locked outside. When she comes back in, there's a little bit of a, you know, thing with the father saying, what the fuck are you doing like that? Now, I understand from being like maybe a, I don't know, ruly kid, you know, whatever, that I would sneak out of the house at night, climb out the window, go hang out with my friends till like fucking 3 in the morning. I'm talking about like 9 years, even earlier, 7, 8 years old. I'm gonna sleep over at my friend's house. We make dummies in the bed. I'm not kidding, for real. McFadden, I'm gonna say the last name, in Brooklyn, New York. And we would climb down this fire escape and do some crazy shit. But these, you know, they're trying to show families. They're trying to show some sort of realism. And some of the kids here and there, you know, there are sparks of like ingenuity and almost seems spontaneous. If that's a way of you directed these movies, then kudos. I'm not even naming all the directors, right? All right. So the daughter has a badass scene. She fucking blows through the garage door. Now later, Katie has to go out with her father for dinner to talk about it. And then on their way home, Ben gets there and he's like, hey, is anybody here? He goes up to the bedroom, his girlfriend, Alex, and looking at the laptop. And again, how you frame things and you cut things off. He's so close to the camera, you really can't see anything around him or behind him. But as soon as he pulls back, Katie's behind him, spoiler, and twists his head around and snaps his neck. And they use the most craziest fucking bonkers sound effect, coconuts cracking and whatever the fucking, it just is insane. They did it with the father in the second one when Katie gets him on the couch. But Ben's head is turned around, and it's again one of the greatest scenes in the whole franchise. And I'm not talking about, yes, there are great creepy elements, which is why I'm even doing a podcast on these movies. Some are better than others, I think, in an objective way, if you want to say critical. But I do love them all as a whole thing, and some of these things are the reason why. Little moments, and yeah, you're going to get things done over. But here we have Ben getting his fucking head snapped in a great wave camera filming. Katie drags him off, and then the mother gets yeeted to the fucking ceiling. Yeah, I'm using the word yeeted. I'm catching up on the youngins wording these days and phrases. But she's slammed it to the ceiling and then smashed down the floor. She's fucking dead. Ben's dead. The father's coming home with Alex, sees the mom and Wyatt, and he's like, oh no, that's not mom, that's Katie and Wyatt, who is really Hunter, right? Okay. And then Alex goes into the house. The father goes after Katie and Wyatt. Alex goes back. She does a classic thing. Now, I thought they were going to do something different, and they didn't, which was cool. She calls Ben, and here's the phone ringing behind her in the closet. She gets fucking blown out by a demon spirit, runs to the house next door, Robbie and Katie's house. Oh, Dad gets dragged away. And the fucking witches are here. Katie's here with the demon face, chases her, busts through the door. And the basic movie ends with Alex running outside and then getting bum rushed. And you don't hear much. And that's it. Again, Katie gets Wyatt back. You know there's these witches, these coven fucking people. What is told in this movie? How much is leaked out? What is the ramifications? I don't really have deep dive information or whatever, but I did watch some of the movies, and I love this movie. I think it's my favorite one out of all of them. Almost to a great degree, like, although my brain bounces back and forth between, again, just loving how the first two bookend each other. The third one being the kids. The fourth one, well, here's 5 years after Katie killed her sister and took Wyatt. So the fourth one ends. You just assume Alex is dead. There are fucking theories on everything in these movies, so you can do really crazy deep dives and stuff like that. But all right, God, who knows how long this is going to be. All right, so we're up to the fifth one now, called the Mark ones. And again, you're getting some connection, but this movie is not the same. I kind of really like it for that. It's one of my favorite ones. I guess they're all fucking good for me. It's called the Marked Ones. So it sets apart right away that it's not going to be the same old house type things. It follows a group of young graduates, let's say. I think it's high school graduates. And it's more like, I like this camcorder thing, so let's have a camcorder for graduation. And that's really it. You're not going to get the same things over and over in that sense. Now, in the long run, they do something at the end which just throws the whole thing into fucking chaos. But here we go. Young group of kids, blah, 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 graduation, present, da-da-da-da-da. Do some stuff. Oh, the valedictorian's coming out of Crazy Anna's house. Why? Who's Crazy Anna? Let's put a fucking GoPro down the vent and peek into her fucking house. Oh, we see a naked girl. They're drawing something on her. Uh-oh. All right, so here starts some of the crazy shit. Later, they're trying to light fireworks off and it doesn't go up, blah, 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 blah. And the valedictorian lands on the fucking garbage can coming from Anna's room. You find out he killed Anna. Arturo, I don't know what the fuck the name is, but valedictorian runs away. You find out Anna's dead, and this group of kids. I think it's let's say three friends. It's the two guys and the girl, and they got the family in there too, here and there. But they go to investigate Anna's house, and I'm not sure if it's here because so I watch all these movies recently, but they become a jumbled, fucking movie picture in my head. You find out that the videotapes from Christy and Katie, a whole bunch of tapes, those boxes, are in Anna's house. Now, the movie's so far removed from the feel and the look of the other movies that your brain's starting to try to process this like, what? Okay, so the valedictorian maybe became the valedictorian because he made an agreement with the demons. Fucking Anna. Anna has the tape. She must be part of the cult of women shit. And there's craziness starts to happen. You find out that the main actor, was it Hector, whatever the fuck his name is, starts getting superpowers. I don't know how, whatever. There's some creepy shit starts to happen. And he's like got a protector almost. But although when he uses the Simon thing, the game, it clearly says it's not his guardian angel. Now, yes, there are ways to figure this shit out, and there are people who've done hours and hours of deep dives. But at some point, he can blow up an air mattress in a second. He tries to fall back, and he's like hanging there. He won't fall. He does it again from a higher spot. He uses a skateboard and does an insane trick that would probably kill somebody. So clearly something's going on. The fucking grandma tries to, do the house cleaning thing. At one point, she even tries to cleanse whatever his fucking name is. There's so many of these fucking movies. Oh my god. I think I was right about Martine was the other lady. Hector, yeah, I think it's Hector Marisol. Anyway, you got these three kids, and the grandma tries to cure Hector, and with this egg, she, was using the egg to suck out the badness. He crushes the egg, it's black juice. Well, guess what? On Anna's wall was a fucking name and a picture thing, and Arturo's like brother shows up, like a leader of a gang sort of guy. And he's like, what the fuck's going on? And apparently, they've been in contact with Allie Ray from the second movie, the daughter who was on a trip when came back and found the kid. So, cameo, let's get her in this movie. And I loved her from the first movie. She has one of the most majestic laughs I've ever heard, when she laughs at the father in the second one for jumping in the pool and burning his balls. Anyway, so they meet up with her, and she starts telling them about the mark and how they're going to be ready to be possessed, and they're even marked in utero, and then when they're 18, they get a whatever. And, this seems to be sort of crazy, and there's a crazy thing that happens, but it's really the next movie where you start going, maybe trying to figure more things out. But here's the problem. Once they do the last thing, he'll go back to sort of normal, but he won't be Hector no more. That's the gist of it. He's been mocked, and he's trying to tell his parents, look at this, is Anna with Mama. My mama died when I was born. What if there's some devil stuff or whatever the fuck? Obviously, the three kids try to figure it out together. They even do a fucking seance thing, painting the mirror black. But Hector's getting powerful. He gets assaulted, him and his friends. And, they want to know what's in his backpack. He hits one guy, smashes him into the soda machine. And then he, pushes or backhands the other guy. He goes 30 feet through the air, landing on a picnic table type thing. And he's becoming aggressive, and his mood's changing. And I think the breaking point for most people in this movie is when the friend can't find him. He was lying in bed a second ago. He looks around. He turns around. The guy's at the top of the stairs, and the grandmother's dead at the bottom of the stairs. And he was torturing the cat, too, with telekinesis or something. He's sticking it to the ceiling. And again, this movie has a different feel, but I applaud them for where they were going. It's a break from things. You're not getting the same, night vision, dark panning shots of the house. You'll get some stuff that brings you back and forth, but it's mainly trying to tell you a story of kind of close to the Carlsbad area where Allie is, so they meet up with her, and they find out the, marked ones, and all right, let's just get this over with. There's one part where he goes into Anna's basement, and you swear that he sees Katie and Christy as children to like his left as he's moving through the plastic in the basement. Now, the first thing you're thinking is, oh wait, that's probably just apparitions, right? No, because when they fucking went to Anna's house and met the brother of the valedictorian, they took one of her books. And in one of her books is a fucking drawing that implies time travel. Yeah, right. What Paranormal Activity needed by the fifth fucking movie is time travel. Yes, you are correct. So, what happens, right? Well, fucking Hector does this disappearing vortex action, and he's suspended in the middle of the room, and the whole room is warping. He appears out of nowhere. What's going on? We got to stop this. They got to stop him from getting the last ritual, but as they're driving around, they get assaulted by Hector, and he's super possessed. He's strong now. Remember, he can do a bunch of shit. He assaults the car, but the girl hits him with a baseball bat. Now they think they got him unconscious, and they're gonna bring him for help. But no, their car gets hit by a truck, and Hector's taken or whatever. I might be saying his fucking name wrong, but the possessed guy, the Mark Ones, the young kid, all great actors in a sense. They take him away. Well, they got to go to the valedictorian's brother for help. Jesse's been taken. It might be Jesse. Jesse's been taken. Whatever the fuck. And then the two guys get fucking. One's got like an MP6, fucking submachine gun. The other one's got like a huge shotgun. Well, that's it. We're gonna put an end to this. We're getting fucking Jesse back, or whoever the fuck. We're gonna, whatever. Let's go to the house. Well, the house looks familiar. So either I'm just crazy or Robbie, Katie's house, Covent Witch's house. Well, they can't get in because the door's locked. But as they start searching around, a fucking chick pops out of the horse kennels where there's no horses there. But I would swear it looks like an older Alex. Now, why there are so many theories is because they wanted to introduce time travel. So everything's bonkers. Is that Alex grown up? We don't know. Could be time travel, right? Who the fuck knows? Because as this movie culminates, the witches come. They get shot by shotguns. People dying, yeeted, thrown, grabbed. The friend sees the girlfriend, part of the trio of this movie, come crashing through the fucking ceiling. She's dead. Oh my god, Hector Jesse's fucking out to kill me, demon face. This kid runs through the house, scared, shitless. The two thugs they brought, the brothers, whenever, like everybody's dead, and now they know what they're really up. Well, there's only one left with the camera. Runs through the fucking house trying to evade Jesse, Hector, whatever the fuck his name is, and again, cool shots. And here you get a little bit more because you feel now, oh my god, I'm in the original Paranormal Activity movies. They just did a little bit different things to get us there. Well, what a shock as he fucking runs away from Hector, Jesse, through a doorway. Blip, glitch, blip, glitch. Where is he? He's in Katie and Mika's house. And as he walks into the kitchen, Katie comes down the stairs. What? Your brain saying? Oh, this is the night. Katie sees fucking friend with the camera, screams Mika. Mika runs downstairs. They fuck with this guy. He's an intruder. Well, Katie stabs him to death. And then the kid runs out, gets bum rushed by Jesse, whatever the fuck, demon guy, and the movie ends. And by the way, you see some you see, like I said, the witch coven, fucking whatever here. But this is the Mark one. This is like the 5th fucking movie. It right away takes you away. It's got a different feel and a momentum. I love the actors they chose, like a Latino community type thing, the graduation, the build-up of stuff. And then, no, time travel. Time travel. So, in the first movie, when fucking Katie walks from the bed, stares at Mika, and goes downstairs, and all of a sudden she starts screaming. That's what they did. That's how they connected it. She's down there. This fucking guy comes time traveling with a fucking camera right in her face. She's like, oh, please help me, help me. Because she's like in a trance, you know? Anyway, there we go. That's how it connects to everything. And your brain's like, what the fuck are they doing? What are they smoking? Give me some of this. Because you just fucking threw everything into chaos. There's nothing that cannot be explained or done now. You could have a guy from the first movie in the background scenery be the child from the second movie. You can do anything. Because the next movie is the Ghost Dimension. Well, what are we going to do here, right? Oh, shit. Let's take it a little bit further. Let's get a family with a special daughter who moved to a house and discover tapes. What? What? Tapes? Come on. And it shows Katie and Christy from the end of the movie where the grandmother takes them. Well, guess what? She brings them upstairs and there's a cult leader fucking guy, Ken, or whatever the fuck, and he starts teaching them shit. And here's the movie that explains that Katie is the protector and fucking Christy's to be the mother, and what they're gonna do, spoilers, because this is long enough. Well, we're gonna give Toby a body. And yes, Toby, the demon from the mentioned in the third one. I don't think he was mentioned in the second one, but this is what you find out what's going on. All this time traveling, all this kid, marked ones, whatever they're doing to prepare babies and whatever, they've given them roles. So Katie was always destined to be the protector, strong, demon powered, whatever the fuck, killer. Christy was destined to be the mother, the hunter. Now, this new kid, Layla, is part of this craziness. As the movie starts, the fucking mother and father of Layla have friends over. So there's a girl there, and his brother, the husband's brother, shows up. So there's basically 4 people with the little kid in the house. Cameras, yes, things start going wrong, but we've got to elevate things, right? We've got to give a new thing to twist to it. Well, how about they find a camera that can see the ghost dimension or the demon dimension or whatever the fucking ethereal craziness, goopy shit we're going to see. And that's how this movie starts to play out. They start seeing things in the camera, realizing that this camera is seeing something the other cameras aren't seeing. Layla's fucking crazy. Awesome actresses. Greatest kids in these movies. We've got some shenanigans going on. And again, this movie is going to show you some of the flaws and try to fix them. What happened to KB's mom? Because Katie says to Christy, you're going to end up like mom. But we know mom was thrown down the steps and dead. Why didn't she talk about the kid being dead? Well, they have a cult leader brainwashing them, and they have a new mom. So I bet it's a new mom that they're talking about. So this is craziness. Now, this movie goes back to more of the formula of the house set up with the cameras. But now they have a ghost camera. And then they start seeing floaty things, and you start seeing the potential forms of Toby, how he's moving around, more of a black, inky blackness that spreads throughout, goes around. The kid starts getting shit happening to her, and they call a fucking priest, demonologist guy over. who's granted kudos to this fucking guy because he has one of the dumbest fucking looks in his face. Oh, we'll get to the dumbest look in the face in a couple of minutes, but there's shenanigans going on. This little girl, Layla, adorable, but she's going to be needed. And how they kind of connect things in a really cool way is they're watching the tapes from 1992. Remember this, Katie and Chrissy are children being indoctrinated into this cult, giving them their roles, blah, 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 teaching them stuff. And as they're doing their, I don't know, training, they say, what do you see? Let him show you. And they describe the brothers watching the movies in 2013 or whatever the fuck. At one point, the kid sneezes in 2013 and Katie or Christy says, bless you, on the fucking videotape. Then, if you really want to break your fucking brain, they find a missing persons poster they have in their possession. You remember, as the shit starts going on, they start doing investigations. Okay. So, they have a missing poster for Hunter Ray, who went missing in, let's say, 2011. There's a poster of him, you know, child. Surprised they didn't have like a milk carton. They hold it up and the guy goes, I knew I've seen this face. The kid is in the fucking tape from 1992. The kid wasn't fucking born yet. Right? So right away your brain's shattered. You're like, what the fuck are we doing? Ghost dimensions, everything. The movie gets bonkers, a little CGI crazy, but I still find it interesting in the culmination of all these movies. To me, this makes the 6 movies entertaining, and as they change things up, they try things. They're not super successful in certain instances. I don't give a fuck about their box offices, success and whatever, or critical complaint and acclaim and tomatoes. If I'm fucking entertained or having fun, I'm having fun. I love all the fucking 6 movies, how they connect, how they do their things. But to end this 6th one, Layla is important, but she's needed. So the ceremonies, this and that, fucking. All right, let's just get to it. The portal opens up. She has to go back in time to be with Hunter and give Toby a human body. By the way, there's a fucking scene in here with a friend who's staying over. The woman, bile shoots out of her mouth and goes on the brother who was staying with them, and he fucking like starts melting and the shit's hitting the fan. There's chaos. The father's running around. Toby's ethereal black goopy arm rips through his chest, pulls him into the back. The mom's got to run. Where's Layla? Get into the fucking room, and there's a portal there. She goes through the portal, protecting the little child, and then you see Toby with real legs. I guess demon-ishy legs. Human enough. Walks over. She tries to protect Layla, tells her to run. And she says something really interesting that I thought was pretty cool, but not really effective. She says to Toby, because she's looking up at him, all you can see is like his calves, maybe part of his ankle. And she goes, you got what you want, leave us alone. And I was like, okay, yeah. But then he grabs her, snaps her fucking neck, throws her like a rag doll, and then walks away with Layla into the camera. You never see any more than his leg, little bits of whatever. And that's the Ghost Dimension. That's the first 6 movies of the Paranormal Activity franchise, and I enjoy them. I love getting little tidbits from one to the other. I love how zany and batshit crazy it gets, because again, I don't believe in any of this shit. Give me some cool stuff, some interesting themes, little things that could, scare you in a way that doesn't get too over the top. I don't need bangs and crashes with loud fucking siren effects and gongs all the time. Do it in pacing, and they made decisions throughout these movies to have certain things play out a certain way, and it's going to either, bring you closer into the franchise or keep you at a distance because you might like 1 or 2. I like the first 6. These movies are fun for me. What a great, crazy story now. There is one sort of connecting thing. There's like a web series video that I sort of caught back in the day. I don't remember it much, and I didn't have time to like go into it, but it's another story that kind of pieces together. And then they made Tokyo Night, and their way of connecting it was a Japanese paranormal activity movie where you find out that this girl was in America. She got into a car accident and broke her leg, so she comes back to stay with the brother while the father's away. Paranormal activity shit happens, but you find out that she killed a woman with her car who is named Katie. Now, as much as I looked into this, I don't know if it's canon or whatever, but it was their way of telling a story like, oh, she killed a demon-possessed woman who had a mission, and since she killed her with the car, she's now the demon grafted it to her, and she brings it back to Japan. So, then there's a video game which I never played, but I did watch playthroughs because I didn't have VR at the time, and I believe you can. Am I right? I think if you wanted to, you could go and play Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul. Because that came out right after the Ghost Dimension. You could play that now without a VR headset. But that's the general gist of this. Now, I'll talk about the Next of Kin. So in 2021, they made Paranormal Activity: Next of Kin. In no real obvious way does this movie connect with the others. And I'm talking about obvious by throwing in a Katie, Christy, whatever thing. So real quick, this woman is contacted by quote unquote Amish relative. She was I think left at a hospital. She never knew her family. So she's gonna do a documentary. You're going to this Amish, let's just call it Amish country, and she's gonna meet her family, whatever. She doesn't know whatever actually happened to her mom. And she's got the photographer, audio guy, trio type trope movie thing going, and they meet the kid Sam. He's a guy, but he's awkward and doesn't like his picture taken. Well, Amish, right? So they go out there, but guess what? They're not allowed to stay there because they have cameras and stuff, which is a little weird. But they get to the hotel and bang, bloop, scare. The kid's at the window. They bring the kid back, and the people are so happy they brought the kid back. They allow them to stay on the property. And here we go. Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. So, in this movie, as she's trying to, figure out her past, where she came from, meeting new family members, things are a little wonky and a little weird. You chalk it up to Amish bullshit or, that type of culture. And the weirdness continues here and there. All right. This has one of the moments in all the franchise where I go, the director should have cut this out or made them redo it. Now, I'm getting fast paced through these movies because this podcast was mainly just my love of the franchise and briefly going through them and picking out things. But this is the most current one, Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. And as the shit's going down, she's realizing things. She's trying to make connections, like what's going on, because there's some crazy, nutty shit going on. There's a two-headed goat born. It's the last night before they're going to leave. She finds out that the Amish guy, Sam, who's like a relative brother or whatever the fuck, cousin, actually has a computer, laptop, and he searched her out, and they think the trio think that they were brought there for a reason. So that's like starting to be a revelation. And then there's a couple of good scenes in this movie, and I get with it. I don't know about the COVID and it getting released and not getting released in theaters, and maybe it went to whatever. I don't know if they made changes or whatever, but it just doesn't sit right with me. And then at the moment where things are going to go wrong, the woman in this movie, Margaret, all right, I'll just get to it. The fucking demon source of whatever entity comes for her, she can't wake up her friend. She gets fucking thrown and yanked up into the ceiling. But right before she looks at the camera, and was supposed to be in terror. And it's the goofiest look I've ever seen. It's the only moment in any of these movies that pulls me out of the movie so much that I have feelings of just not continuing to watch the movie. I know it's stupid. I know it's a little thing. And yeah, some people might think she's looking crazy, but she's got this dopey, stupid fucking look on her face as she gets really close up to the camera before she's yanked up into the air. It's just one of the worst. I would have fucking sit there and demanded they redo it, cut it out or something. Again, it's so stupid and small, but for some people, it doesn't matter. Like, this might be a fun movie for them. And I'm not saying it's a shitty movie. It's just like, okay, now, after this, she's got blood all over herself. It's on the ceiling, on the walls. And the Amish doctor guy tells that it's a menstrual cycle with stress. I'm sorry, menstrual cycles don't shoot you up to the fucking ceiling, spread your blood on the wall. Anyway, battery's dead on their car. They gotta get the battery. They get a lift. The two guys, because Margaret is recovering from a fucking menstrual cycle bullshit. Oh, to get a lift. They find out they're not Amish. They do a quick search and find Asmodeus. I mentioned this in the beginning because this would be the deeper dive, people who know connection to the original movies, if there is one, if they were even trying to do it, if they're just trying to be clever with it. I'm not sure, but let's get Margaret and get out of here. Well, Margaret's been taken to the hole in the ground, which was alluded to earlier. You didn't really see what was going on down there, but I'm guessing that's where they bring the two-headed goats, whatever. But no, this is where the theme of this movie comes to fruition. Okay, so what this community does is find a special woman, let's just say a special woman, I don't know, trap the demon in her belly, her womb, whatever, and that family line of women have to contain Asmodeus, or he breaks free. His mind can take over anybody at any moment. He can jump from mind to mind, and you'll be unleashing one of the greatest evils in the world. Whatever. You want to do deep dives, one of the 9 princes of hell, whatever the fuck. So, when they go down the hole to save Margaret, whatever the fuck her name is, well, they stop the ritual, and then this fucking evil, dead-looking woman gets up from a fucking, I don't know, rock chair, who's obviously the descendant who's holding the baby, or the holding the fucking essence of this evil Asmodeus. And it's, you need the next of kin because the evil's spreading. And that's alludes to some of the happenings that were going on while there's a two-headed goat, while the fucking lady was peeling her scabs into the potatoes, whatever the fuck. So the gist of this movie becomes they need Margot to continue to trap the demon and hold him at bay. Now, I'm not sure if these cult communities kind of know what they're doing. Like, they're holding the essence, but they're using that power to be rich or successful. Now, I don't think this community is, but I could see the connection with the coven of witches who give the marked ones who were trying to give Toby a body. It's their quest to get fame, fortune, and then they have to give up their firstborn male. This story kind of, it kind of gives you the impression that, no, these people were good, that they're doing something insanely dangerous. They have a small community and they have to find a certain heritage, a line of descendants that can hold the demon at bay. And Margaret has to be the next one, but she's not. The demon gets free, or the woman who's carrying the demon, calamities ensue. And then they got this CGI slow-mo shot that's pretty fucking cool. But I can see why people just like get turned off by it. It takes the big goofy guy, it rips his bottom half of his jaw off in one swipe in slow motion. It's kind of ashy or snowing and shit's going on, so you really can't see what's going on. Well, guess what? It's Margot's mom, because when the other guy gets ready to be killed, she says, "Don't hurt him, leave him alone, Susan," or something like that. Like, she names the mom. She walks up to her, the classic moment, and distracts her kind of, because now we're looking at the decrepit zombie-like mother holding this evil, and the daughter who's supposed to carry this evil and hold it at bay. Well, Margot takes the fucking hay thing, slams it into the mother's neck, throws it down the bay hole, whatever the fuck it's called, and that should be the end of her. Let's get the fuck out of here. Well, let's get to the car. No, we don't have the keys. They go to get the keys from Dale, or the big goofy guy, and they start seeing shit is going. There's this craziness going on at this community. Fires and screaming and bells are going off and gongs and all this shit is crazy music. They finally get into the truck and they drive away with her classic scream from, I think, the trailer. Well, the movie's not over yet, because as a police car rolls up with its dash cam camera, you know, the cop's like, "Oh, we got multiple fatalities here, so everybody's dying, whatever." They hear a baby crying. The cop goes up to the area, and it's Sam, who stands up without his shirt, and his cries start becoming less of a baby and more of a man. And then he just looks at the fucking cop as he gets all stoic, and the cop dies. You hear a gunshot go off. As he walks out, the dash cam picks up another cop holding a gun at him. "Freeze!" Hold on. And he looks at him, and the guy takes the gun and blows his head off. So Asmodeus is free. He's got Sam's body. He gets in the police car, drives off with this cool, you know, sweet music, and that's it. Now, as a quick aside here, I'm not knowledgeable enough of the web series and the video game, if they tie in this stuff. I am sort of aware of people bringing these things together in their own theories and stuff, and I'll give the producers or the creators credit that I think if you do searches, there is a Book of Toby and there's Asmodeus, and you could be kind of joining them together. But would you have a quest now for Toby Asmodeus to destroy his human body that the witches are using? Is that where you would go with this if you are connecting it? Because let's just put these, before I end this, let's just take these two premises, right? First 6 movies, let's give this entity Toby a body so he can be on the physical plane. If that entity Toby is Asmodeus or Asmodeus, are they using that power so in the next of kin, Asmodeus, whatever the fuck his name is free, so he takes over a body? My brain tells me that Sam wants to get hooked up with the Toby body. Because, again, my mind is telling me, well, he's pissed. All these human cults, all these things, they're using his power. Now, maybe this cult wasn't, like I said, they might have been good people with crazy histories and a really shitty job of making a woman hold his fucking evil in. But if you're going to go with the movies, it's real, right? So would that be where they go? I don't know. But the next of kin for me is not a great starting off point for what would come. I could be surprised, because maybe if I took the first movie from base value and didn't connect it with the second movie, would it be something that becomes forgettable or, not as interesting to watch here and there? Maybe, is it the 6 movies of eventual batshit craziness that really makes me have fun with this series? Maybe like the Resident Evil movies, which are not fucking great movies, but man, do I fucking love watching them. Mila Jovovich and all that shit. So Next of Kin is the last movie, 2021. It has a different story, no real solid connection, unless you want to do a deep dive and find out the connection between Asmodeus, and Toby on how they're connected. Could they be two different princes? Are they the same person with a different name? Is his power split, and when he comes together, the world could end? Could it be that type of trilogy you're going for? Because if this movie didn't do so good, that's where you have to go. Your next Paranormal Activity, next of kin movie should be Margot and this other survivor piecing something together, being hunted by Sam or whatever, and then them meeting up or having something to do with maybe a survivor like Allie or Alex, you find out is alive, or something where they're like, no, this witch covenant was using Asmodeus Toby's power for rich and fame, and they promised him a male child. But his core essence was being trapped by this, I don't know, Amish community, and they're keeping him at bay. Now that's it. In general, I got a lot of love for the first 6. I don't know where my love will go for this next if they keep continuing. I like Next of Kin enough that it doesn't insult me or make me angry. It just makes me roll my eyes in that one scene where she looked at the camera and gets pulled up, and she has this dopey look on her face that's supposed to be, I guess, terror and shock and whatever. I get it. It's just, it's just not for me. And I guess that's it. We've got all these movies. I touched on a couple of little things here and there. This thing's going to be long enough, an hour and something long. But I wanted to get this all out. There's movies that mean things to me at certain times of the year or the moods I'm in. And when you find one that has this many movies and not enough stinkers that it ruins the essence of them. I enjoy that. I enjoy the premise. Again, I don't believe in any of this shit. Ghosts, demons, all this nonsense and conjuring bullshit. But make a good movie, make it interesting. I try to keep my biases in check. I admit that for the Conjuring movies, I find myself not being able to like them, even though, I might drift more towards Insidious or, I don't know. It's just a Ed and Lorraine shit with them making money off poor fucking innocent people trying to find loved ones and doing their demon shit. I don't know. And there's some movies out there that really hit the mark, and all these movies aren't perfect. They're not all great. But some people had creative juices flowing and tied this shit together, made the first 6 movies with, it's a wonder. Because Blumhouse and Paramount taking advantage of found footage, whatever it may be, I still like watching these movies. I still give most of them a fucking thumbs up. Some parts, yeah, some parts, no. I might want to play that game now that I don't need a VR headset. And there you go. Paranormal Activity 1 through 6. I really enjoy, although they're not all great. They have some crazy fucking shit that they try to tie everything together. The 7th one, Next of Kin, it's okay. It tells the story well, I guess, and it's just little nitpicks about it, but it just doesn't grab me as part of that story. Can it be? Sure. Can they surprise me and wow me? Without a doubt. I would definitely give it a chance. So, in that case, I hope everybody's doing well. Give Paranormal Activity movies a shot if you want, and be well.